Hey there, this is Willie.
And this is John.
We play in Lamb of God, and right now you're watching
Heavy Consequence on
Consequence of Sound.
fucking A.
We had starting out with some unfortunate news. You guys were the victims of a really horrible theft, and which is a real bummer. And I found that they caught the guys that stole your guitars, but the guitars themselves are still out there.
Yeah, they're still missing. So, kind of unsure where they're at as of now. I know, like you said, they've got these 3 guys in custody, as far as I know, and hopefully it's only a matter of time before they come back home to us. And to anybody out there, if you happen to just buy it and think that it's a righteous sale, fucking give it back to its rightful owners.
Shit is stolen.
Yeah, shit is fucking stolen.
Because it's more than a monetary value, man. Those are like
It's
custom
way more than a
guitars that
monetary
mean a lot
value.
to
I mean,
you.
it's so much more than just a
That's very
guitar.
true, and it would be great to get them back, and there've been arrests. But in the scheme of things, there are people who had a lot rougher days that day than we did in losing a couple guitars.
Yeah.
Still, bring them back.
Let's move on to some happier news. You recently released the 15th anniversary edition of Ashes of the Wake. Can you go back and just kind of go back in time and kind of just talk about your memories of recording and releasing that album and what that album meant to you?
Are you guys going to do any editing? Can you do like the wavy line?
Yeah, we can do that. Yeah, we can do that. And then, yeah, you get the bubble, and then, but just kind of like what stands out to you about recording, releasing that album, and that impact that had on your career?
To me, that album was a super special time in our lives and our career, and it was at a time where, as a songwriter, it was really just kind of everything was new and everything was fresh, and there was nothing. The attitude as the band, as a whole, was basically just fuck everybody, and a lot of those songs, there's no conventional really structure to many of them. Take Hourglass, for instance. It's just riff after riff after riff, and how heavy can we make this record? And so in that respect, to me, as a songwriter, and knowing how we've evolved and the dynamics between all of us in the band, that record being a glimpse in our career is really special, and those songs still stand the test of time and are special to a lot of people. And to think that it was just basically a free-for-all and going for it, riff after riff, and yeah, so it's super cool, and it's super cool that people still celebrate it, and this 15th anniversary thing is really special to me.
John, your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I remember grinding out that record, and we're always trying to outdo ourselves with every record, and have, I think, done that every time. And I remember grinding it out on that record, and just putting these songs together was just we were kicking tons of ass in the studio, and it's just a great snapshot of where we were as a band at that point.
Cool. And I spoke with Mark about his solo album earlier in the year, and at the time, he said, the wheels were turning on some new Lamb of God music. Is there anything you could tell me on where you're at as far as, new music and next album?
We're moving along really well. I think that is definitely priority number 1 in between all these tours that we've got lined up. So, no, the progress is being made, and I feel really good about where we're at with it. And like I said, that is priority number 1. So as soon as we can get some time to ourselves off the road,
Which is coming.
That is going to be the first and foremost thing that
We're gonna
get
wrap.
done.
Yeah, we're gonna wrap up this leg with Slayer in the U.S. and then go to Europe, do some festivals there, and then we come home, and it's record time.
Awesome. And you just mentioned touring with Slayer. You guys had the privilege of being like the direct support of Slayer on their farewell tour, and just can you talk about that experience, kind of going out with this legendary band and seeing the fans kind of welcome them with open arms and all that?
It's super cool. I mean, we've had a long-standing relationship with Slayer. They were the first ones to take us across the pond to the UK, and ever since then, it's kind of been going back and forth between the Unholy Alliance tours and now ultimately to this. And like you've said, we've basically been on the road with them for the past year and a half. And it's just a really comfortable tour. We're all, good friends, and we've got a whole thing going. So it's basically why mess with something that's working great.
And Slayer is also going out on top, kicking ass, putting out an amazing show. So it is an honor and a privilege to be out with him, but it's also, to see these guys, they're doing it right. It's inspiring.
It is.
I hope we have a long time before we get to go out like that, but I hope we do get to go out at least as well as they are.
I'm glad you mentioned that because I saw that whole tour at Jones Beach last year, and everybody sounded at top of their game. You guys, Anthrax, Testament, and then Slayer. I don't know what it was, but they just sounded better than ever. Tom's voice, Kerry and Gary just kicking ass. They're just like, wow. And they just, they're giving it to their all.
Fire. I think it's the fire that does it.
It's the pyro.
It takes them to one step above.
No, I think there's a vibe that goes through the tour, and everybody wants to do their best. I mean, if not in recognition of the fact that it's a farewell tour, and make sure that this show is extremely special for all the fans that come out for every band.